I have chosen a special mission of my own. I am after a man whom I want to destroy. He died many centuries ago, but until the last trace of him is wiped out of men's minds, we will not have a decent world to live in.
What man?
Robin Hood. He was the man who robbed the rich and gave to the poor, while I'm the man who robs the poor and gives to the rich. Or to be exact, the man who robs the thieving poor and gives back to the productive rich.
What in blazes do you mean?
If you remember the stories you've read about me in the newspapers before they stopped printing them, you know that I have never robbed a private ship and never taken any private property. Nor have I ever robbed a military vessel, because the purpose of a military fleet is to protect from violence the citizens who paid for it, which is the proper function of a government. But I have seized every loot carrier that came within range of my guns. Every government relief ship, subsidy ship, loan ship, gift ship, every vessel with a cargo of goods taken by force from some men for the unpaid, unearned benefit of others. I seized the boats that sailed under the flag of the idea which I am fighting. The idea that need is a sacred idol requiring human sacrifices. That the need of some men is the knife of a guillotine hanging over others. That all of us must live with our work, our hopes, our plans, our efforts at the mercy of the moment when that knife will descend upon us. And that the extent of our ability is the extent of our danger, so that success will bring our heads down on the block, while failure will give us the right to pull the cord. This is the horror which Robin Hood immortalized as an ideal of righteousness. It is said that he fought against the looting rulers and returned the loot to those who had been robbed, but that is not the meaning of the legend which has survived. He is remembered not as a champion of property, but as a champion of need. Not as a defender of the robbed, but as a provider of the poor. He is held to be the first man who assumed a halo of virtue by practicing charity with wealth which he did not own, by giving away goods which he had not produced, by making others pay for the luxury of his pity. He is the man who became the symbol of the idea that need, not achievement, is the source of rights, that we don't have to produce, only to want. That the earned does not belong to us, but the unearned does. He became a justification for every mediocrity who, unable to make his own living, has demanded the power to dispose of the property of his betters by proclaiming his willingness to devote his life to his inferiors, at the price of robbing his superiors. It is this foulest of creatures, the double parasite who lives on the sores of the poor and the blood of the rich, whom men have come to regard as a moral ideal. And this has brought us to a world where the more a man produces, the closer he comes to the loss of all his rights, until, if his ability is great enough, he becomes a rightless creature delivered as prey to any claimant. While in order to be placed above rights, above principles, above morality, placed where anything is permitted to him, even plunder and murder, all a man has to do is be in need. Do you wonder why the world is collapsing around us? That is what I am fighting, Mr. Rearden. Until men learn that of all human symbols, Robin Hood is the most immoral and the most contemptible, there will be no justice on earth and no way for mankind to survive. What I actually am, Mr. Rearden, is a policeman. It is a policeman's duty to protect men from criminals, criminals being those who seize wealth by force. It is a policeman's duty to retrieve stolen property and return it to its owners. But when robbery becomes the purpose of the law and the policeman's duty becomes not the protection but the plunder of property, then it is an outlaw who has to become a policeman. I have been selling the cargoes I retrieved to some special customers of mine in this country who pay me in gold. Also, I have been selling my cargoes to the smugglers and the black market traders of the People's States of Europe. Do you know the conditions of existence in those People's States? Since production and trade, not violence, were decreed to be crimes, the best men of Europe had no choice but to become criminals. The slave drivers of those states are kept in power by the handouts from their fellow looters in countries not yet fully drained, such as this country. I do not let the handouts reach them. I sell the goods to Europe's lawbreakers at the highest prices I can get, and I make them pay me in gold. Gold is the objective value, the means of preserving one's wealth and one's future. Nobody is permitted to have gold in Europe except the whip-wielding friends of humanity who claim that they spend it for the welfare of their victims. That is the gold which my smuggler customers obtain to pay me. How? By the same method I use to obtain the goods. And then I return the gold to those from whom the goods were stolen. To you, Mr. Rearden, and other men like you. Why? Because my only love, the only value I care to live for, is that which has never been loved by the world, has never won recognition or friends or defenders. Human ability. That is the love I am serving, and if I should lose my life, to what better purpose could I give it?